Abantu bafo bakamba kule kumumfumbwe. More than 20 people balebe pati ni babiri. Bagamba. Fish to arufyanye. People have died. Mumino yabaka pakola. The police killing people. Why? In the same government, Bagamba, abductions have happened. Bagamba, if you're not with them, it's either you're dead or you're in prison. This government, you're going to change, big man. Fish to arufyanye pakumika office. Fish to arufyanye. Why me? Missing. Achani Ruba Mwaicho and Dizona. Where is why me? HH, tell us with your government, where is why me? Give us why me. Justice for why me, big man. Wachila mo HH. Wala tupwisha mega kutupwisha Bagamba. Katwale kya kulanda big man. My youth. Maana watata. Zambian to Azevana. Bagamba. Wanesa to Apweni. Mujala Jesu. It's a Zambia. Tuamona mwempwa. Bagamba. Tuamona mwempwa. Nama abductions Bagamba. Muteko toaleta. Wadulete lama. Amazala mush. No, you can take her. But I bump today. No, you can take her. Apa number bane. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Makufota bane. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Makufuatika. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Makufuatika fuatika. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. When you taya kwa fwe. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Aikona man. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Ita yako. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Yakuliati kwenyu. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mayona batata. Mayona batata. Bayuthi. Tentwisuli amenso. Tentwisuli amenso. Batu sendela nomba batu ipaila na hope Yesu. Endika chagwa lungu watu bela tinani mkwatila plan B. Nomba tu alishiba plan B aba mmino ya kualesa. Bantu banga abalafu mukyalo kyesu kya Zambia. Nibanga abantu abala abducted mukyalo kyesu kya Zambia. Bambire kuli jeje banda. Nibanga abantu abala ba prison. Abena kitotela kilangwa. Bonze baba prison n'entungulu kina shimbi na shimbi. Muli one government ya kwa HH. Abantu naba famweleza. Aikata nomba baikata na kuli endika chakwa lungu atukwatile plan B. Abakubo byabyo omufulo big man. Mufulo pa mufulo. Bilabine batsendela endika chakwa lungu. Apano mabane. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Bakuvota bane. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Bakufuatika. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Bakufuatika fuatika. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. When you taya kwa fwe. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Aikona man. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Ita yako. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Yakuliati kwenyu. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. HH does not mean well for Mother Zambia. Zambia to Asevana, this is not the Mother Zambia that we were left with by our ancestors, our forefathers who fought so hard to liberate us. Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, Nalumino Mundia, Mama Julia Chikamoneka, Simon Mwansaka Pwepwe, they fought so hard to put this country on the map, to put this country where it is today. No man would destroy this country because we believe in unity. Bamayana batata bapunda to one Zambia, one nation, and we shall together we will change, and we are going to change this government.
Amitapendwa ya vintu ifisume vyoza kula kuibukisha Kana depotimo Wimbo wa temenu wa katongi abazunga batita katongi nagula kwibukisa kateka kaibukubuna kapona nenseko syove pameso yangwa maume baya iyaba maume iyaba maume
kateka wabantu twakulira lelo twakulira shikakukonke milimo shove ale filamba yena minta pengosile eti kumemo kulondolola abale lilo wingi
iseko wingi mwakwete iseso wingi mwakwete mwaya mwende wino tata wesu
katusi muchi wakege wali bomba kale lomba mwatuja tulelilake mupanga chiba
benda upanga mwine moya mwine ide dalila
yangu ya mama ala nacho mwabye mama ukula bebyo wathi dobwingi imisebo wapangile obwingi ukuchinjo lusako kumoneko busaka mama utituwala basiyani chakwa katuse
Good day and welcome to today's broadcast. Wherever you are watching us, share with your colleagues, with your friends, share on your page, share with loved ones. This is Emmanuel Mwamba Verified live. Today we are privileged that we are hosting a Zambian businessman resident in South Africa. His name is Willah Joseph Mudolo. He's an entrepreneur, a philanthropist, and he will tell us his life. He has shown interest to lead the Patriotic Front. He has shown interest to lead the country. So this is what we are doing today. Share the platform, share with all your colleagues, share with all your friends. We are live on this wonderful day, Sunday, 12th October, 2025. Let me just bring Mr. Mudolo. Mr. Mudolo, good day and welcome to today's broadcast.
Thank you, Ambassador Mwamba, for having me. And greetings to my people, fellow Zambians, Mulishani Bonse, Mishwani.
Thank you very much. And thank you for sparing your time to come on this broadcast and to share. I think it's the first time you're making a media appearance to Zambia. And we are grateful that you chose this platform to come and, share with us some of the insights we'll be talking about today. So before we start, who is, Willah Joseph Mudolo? We lost Zambia's 6th president. Maybe we'll start from there, but you can advise.
Mwamba, I have not finished greeting my people and my fellow Zambians. I think you interjected before I finished. I was supposed to greet also. Remember, I come from Muchinga province, so I think my people will be more excited to see that I greet them, to hear that I greet them in our local language. The Namwangas there, the Nyikas there, Makata, Muriuri Mkwai, and Makora, Muritiani, Kuchpata. I greeted others, Western province and Southern province. I greeted them in our local and native languages because we do have our elders who may not really understand this particular language that is very universal for our country. But it is important. Yes, Bamwamba, now we can, I think, engage in our conversation. And thank you also to my fellow Zambians for giving me this opportunity. I know a lot has been said about me, and I think everyone was anxious and waiting to hear me now. And this is the Mudolo, the truth now, will be speaking to you. Not the one who has been scandalized a lot on social media. And today you are going to get the truth. You will be able to get now to the clear information, the truth from the horse's mouth. So
wonderful,
I'm very
wonderful.
grateful.
So before we begin the program, we've had a matter in our country, but you are a devout Christian and you made a request. Maybe we start with a prayer.
Indeed, thank you so much. Thank you. I'll say a short prayer. Father, we come before your throne of mercy. We thank you for this opportunity to engage into this conversation, Lord, where we are discussing the issues of national interest. Lord, I pray that let the peace that Zambia is known for prevail. And even today, this evening, I speak to my fellow Zambians, Lord, I pray that even those that we have certain misunderstanding due to certain misconceptions, I even pray for those that may have been hired to light negative things. I pray for them that may the Holy Spirit touch them right now. May they be conceived of the Holy Spirit and do a right thing. I pray for their families as well. I pray for our president. I pray for the Lungu family having gone through the most difficult time. And I pray for the entire country that may the peace prevail. We are known for peace as a Christian nation. And I pray and leave everything in the mighty name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth. We pray, amen.
And amen, and Zambians say amen. Thank you very much for that prayer, and we'll be getting into the program. I was saying that we've had the last 4 months a sad state of affair. We lost Zambia's 6th president on 5th June 2025. He has not been put to rest. Maybe it's an opportunity for you to say your condolences before we go into the program.
Thank you very much. Indeed, it has been a very difficult moment to the Lungu family, to us as Zambians, that we have a situation that was never anticipated. As Zambians, we are known for peace and unity. I would like to convey my deepest condolences to our mother, Madam Lungu, to the entire family, the Lungu family, the Zambian people. We are all mourning together and we stand with you. And maybe at this particular time, I would like to request Mwamba that we observe a moment of silence for 3 minutes, just to honor our late president for what is going on right now in the country. And I ask every Zambian to observe the moment of silence so that as we start our conversations, we shouldn't forget our father, who indeed were indebted to his legacy.
Today we stand at a crossroads, not just of politics, but of conscience. The passing of our humble president, Mr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu, is not only a moment of mourning, It is a moment of reckoning. Let this be a message to every future politician of Zambia. Power is not a crown. It is a responsibility. You are not above the people, you are born of them. You are raised by their trust, and you are judged by how you honor it. What we witnessed during President Lungu's health challenges must never happen again. No family should be dragged through courtrooms while grieving. No widow should plead for dignity. No orphan should wait for justice to bury their father. This is not the Zambia we were meant to be. Let us start over. Let us rebuild, not just our institutions, but our hearts. Let the death of President Lungu remind us that we are each other's keeper. That love is not weakness, it is our greatest strength. That the Bible commands us to care for the widow, the orphan, and the stranger. And that true leadership begins with compassion. We only have one Zambia. Let us raise her high, not with slogans, but with service. Let us show love, not just in words, but in action. Let us unite, not just in grief, but in purpose. To the Lungu family, we are with you. To every citizen, your pain matters. To every leader, your legacy begins now. One Zambia, one nation, one heart.
Thank you for that moment of silence. I used the opportunity to play a tribute that was done by Robam. Robam is a Zambian national based in Manchester, and he had done that tribute for the late president. So I used that moment of notice, and thank you, Robam, for those moving words that you did in that compilation and tribute to the late president. As we begin, first to you, dear audience, share the broadcast, share, and begin to comment. Tell us where you are calling from. Is the broadcast clear? We want this, for you to get it and get it very clearly. Zambia is standing at a precipice. We are going to elections next year in 2026, and there's an array of leaders that have emerged, including Willah Joseph Mudolo, 45-year-old, and he just celebrated his birthday on August 25th. Today, you hear from what we call the horse's mouth. Who is Joseph Willah Mudolo? Mr. Mudolo, tell us.
Thank you so much, Ambassador, and thank you so much to the listeners, my fellow Zambians, and all those who are listening to me for the first time. So, my name is Willah Joseph Mudolo, as you know, as you have heard. I know there's a lot that has happened. I'm sure you were very much expectant to hear me, and that Nguyu Chilumendo, where from nowhere he has bent the social media and some sort of confusion and all that, misunderstanding, misconceptions and all that. So Willah is from Sami village. He was born on the Kopi. So I'm a Coppola king. Everyone who is born on the Copper Belt, those who have had an experience of center, Gayanunka center filia. So this is Willah, moved to the village when he was a toddler, and settled at Sami village, to one of the farms which you still have there. Grew up from there. I have an experience of walking barefooted. I've gone to school walking and working in the farms, and in cattle in the bushes. So Willah is a village boy, and at the same time is a copper king, having been born on the copper belt. Willah has 3 children, a wife, and is a brother, a cousin, nephew to the Mudolos and several others family who are linked to ourselves and from Chinga and several other parts. So my journey started from Sami, where I went to Sami Primary School, and from grade 1 to grade 7. From there I went to Mlekatembo Basic, which is now Mlekatembo Secondary School. And from there I went to Isoka Boys. That is where I completed my grade 12. Before I actually even went to study to college, where I was able to work. Actually, for those who are in Isoka, you're watching me now, you should be able to understand that I once worked in Vinati filling station, which it was under the Tota, which belonged of my relatives, my auntie. So I worked from there. My life started from there. I've done all what you may think of a village boy would do. I was a very determined person from a tender age, where I was able to even ask my teachers during holidays that, do you have a field where I can cultivate for you and you give me some money? And I'll do that. I'll do such type of jobs. And when I earn money, I would actually go to Isoka, market there, and I would even buy some sort of bags, because it used to be some sort of barter system in the village where you give salt and the people come and work for you in the field. So I'm one of those, who were privileged to experience that life. So I'd work there. So when I went to study, I first went to NIEC. That's where I did my first accounting, basically, before I went to accumulate my degrees overseas. But one thing that I want to mention to you is that my Christian faith is what kept me going. And I didn't see my background coming from a village, a very disadvantaged family. I wouldn't call myself disadvantaged, because I think I was okay, because I was able to eat and able to work in the field, head cattle. And but that did not determine my life, or to be discouraged that I cannot get into the global corridors. So what is interesting, and this is something that I would like, Mwamba, that the young people, my fellow young people, they need to understand, especially to those in the village, be motivated and encouraged from my story that I'm sharing now, my background. Coming from a place in Sami village, heading cattle in the bushes, come back, I know to do all the village shows. That was what motivated me, that one day, and for those who have listened to me from when I was a toddler, they will tell you, and they'll confirm what I'm saying, that I always indicated that the forests, the villages, the bushes we see, one day will be transitioned into industries. So my political, involvement, or perhaps foundation, started from there. And I don't even call it a political career. I would rather call it a calling, because when I was a toddler, I started thinking of how do I then see the forests, the trees in the bushes turn to become, industries, become thriving economies. That was actually me when I was growing. So I come from there. This is about me as Willah. I've worked, of course, transitioned to work in corporate, and some of my colleagues that I went to school with, and those that I was with them at NIEC Business School, when I was doing my AAT there, they should be able to appreciate that those who were closer to me, I would actually sell phones there. That time, the Nokia phones had just come, so I would buy them from Tanzania and sell them. Fellow students, I would get lice, which is commodities, and sell to my fellow students, including my lecturers. They would buy that. So because I was determined from that point.
I love the entrepreneur spirit, especially, from us who come from the north. The Namwangas and Mambwes are known to be literally business people, and you clearly come from that stock. Which secondary schools did you attend, and when I see you've already talked about your professional life, but which secondary school did you attend, and which was your first place of work before we transition to why you then were resident in South Africa?
From there, I worked, as I mentioned earlier to say, from NIEG, of course, I had worked briefly, for 6 months at Barclays Bank. And then I went and joined a company which was called Zikon Construction Company. And even the time I was at Zikon Construction Company, which was owned by Baker International, which is an American company, I am a person who was known to be an entrepreneur. I never relied on a salary alone. So it is from there that, in fact, the time I worked at Zikon, you will understand, for those that worked with me, like Mushibwe, Pastor Mushibwe, and Mr. Jonathan Sinyinza was my president there. You know that I was a very aggressive and determined person to pursue and secure financing from the local banks there. So that is something that I started from there. And at that particular, let me say, that was in 2000 and, at that particular time, I had actually started working on my political career. That was 2005, before actually joining Zikon. In 2005, I had assembled a piece of paper where I had indicated the 9 provinces to become industrial hubs. I produced a first manifesto in 2007, 2008, I amplified it a little bit, and it is from there when I left the Left Junction project. I'm the one who was I was a major key player. We secured that project from NAPSA.
Yes,
then I left.
I understand, the major levy more opposite Evelyn Horn. NAPSA was, I think there was an attempt to renew the city. I think there was a big project in rehabilitating Zambian National Building Society, and creating a new building where there was, I can't remember what facility there was, where Levy Moore.
Just
how were you involved in that project? Because I was there. I think there was Group 5, there was Mr. Sinyinza, who you mentioned earlier, his company, and NAPSA, I think, as a developer. What was your role in that project?
I was part of. So I was part of the negotiating team. I was actually the finance manager there. I was part of the negotiating team that negotiated that deal with the Group 5 to come into joint venture with others, of course. But I was a key person there to negotiate and put together that project. It is from there that then now I started looking outside. And I want to give something which is very interesting. For those who are saying, where is Mudolo and where is he coming from? The same 2005, that is the time that I started engaging with late President Sata that time, and he would even call me to say, look, do you have some funds that you can go to our pay mushta campaign ku Southern Province na kwatako mpia Fairfield. So I started and I continued my relationship from that time, and there are people who can confirm that Mudolo is not new in Patriotic Front. I started from there. I engaged with the late President Sata extensively, and he knew about this particular political endeavor. I was not in a hurry because for me, politics was something that was, it is a calling. I had prepared for it. My burden was to understand what would be my contribution. So I'll give you a very interesting story and what happened, which is a fact. It's not even a story. I started in 2005. Then, as I mentioned, 2007, 2008, I produced a first manifesto. And actually, at that time, I was still with Barclays. I joined I think in 2007, 2008, I think. That I might not be correct with the number, with the dates. But that particular time, I presented a manifesto which was only 20 pages. There are colleagues who understand that my political endeavors did not start today by Mwamba. Na bonsa badala ndati yawe Mudolo afumina kuisoyo. Ni kuise kwadi. Inena ambile ukutontonkanya pabunonshwa Zambia because I was motivated by my background. And I was very much interested in leading Chinese books, leading the Singaporean, the Singapore economic transformation and all that.
About that you had attempted to form a political party. And I see when you do a search,
let me.
Yeah, so just a minute. So when you do a search, I notice that, a party is being associated with you. So is that where you are talking about that time in 2007, forming a manifesto and a political party?
That political party was not actually there. My manifesto had just some sort of a proposed political party, and actually what I used to put there most of the time as a name was Patriotic Front itself, because I was a member that time. I was there is only one political party that I joined. I only joined Patriotic Front. I never joined any other party. Of course, by default. Our parents, they were part of UNIP, the MMD, maybe by default we were part of that. But personally, as a matured person, the only party I joined was Patriotic Front. So when I joined Patriotic Front, I was involved. In fact, my Honorable Mombipili, she will confirm that even when there was a fight of, there was a lango at some point, I was involved. I funded the program. So supporting Patriotic Front, it is not new. I'm a person who wanted to be in the background and not to come into the limelight when I do something. So it was shocking for me to hear people say, Mudolo. Of course, I do understand that they do not know where we're coming from. And I want to get to the most interesting part. In 2010 is when I left Zambia, but I came back and toured the entire country, because that is the time when we now incepted the program which we called it as a national transformation framework. This was done without anyone influencing me. I was self-motivated, and those who know, who have been speaking to me, they do understand about this. In 2011, the new province was born. That was Mchinga. There was a delimitation of Northern Province to introduce Mchinga when the PF came into power. I had taken a thorough review from 1964 to 1991. The ultimate objective there was for me to understand what really transpired during the first regime. And when that happened, I discovered a lot of things. My ultimate objective was not to punch walls in a previous regime, because I knew that our elders were men of a gun and they delivered the freedom that we're enjoying today. But I wanted to understand, and I discovered a lot of things to say. The reason why a very robust industrial strategy, which was there from 1964, failed, it is purely because it was a borrowed program from the colonial government, which they didn't have the full DNA, our elders, to understand how they can sustain such type of initiatives. So I discovered that in 1970s...
I can't wait that we go into your thoughts about the economy of Zambia and how it can be transformed. Just briefly, let's discuss this. I see you go to Henriot Watt University, and you also you go to Edinburgh Business School in London. You were associated, I think you worked with Barclays. Then in 2010, you moved to South Africa. Just summarize for us, because I want them to transition to an issue that has been burning in the country.
I'll give you the chronological order in terms of what happened. I didn't move to South Africa straight. I came to South Africa, yes, that was sometime in 2011, 2012. I was in and out. And I started, of course, doing some business here, and then I left. I went to Hong Kong. So Hong Kong is where the Lord opened many, many doors that I got to learn. But there's something before I get to give you the sequence of my transition. My education, I started studying even when I was in Zambia. And I was very committed that I want to go to universities that where I can gain knowledge that would help me for personal development and, more importantly, for the development of our country. So I'm going to give you the chronology of how I transitioned, the sequence of events. But let me, before I lose the thought, just get to where I was getting. I'm not going to go to dive into the economic imperatives of what I've prepared and all that. I will get to that after providing you with a sequence of how I transitioned. So, Mwamba, the story is very clear. The pattern of things in terms of the reason why I'm trying to shed more light here is to address the issues where they are saying Mudolo is from nowhere, has emerged, wanting to participate into leadership of our country. I started working on what do I contribute. So if you look at the period itself, it is close to 2 decades that I've taken to understand what do we need to do, what is it that we have not done properly. So my review, I want to get back there before I lose the thought. My review of from 1964 to 1991 was for me to understand, and I discovered a lot of things in the process, that 1970 is when the issues started in terms of economic instability and all that. Of course, it continued because there was a maintenance mode which was there. In 1985, issues started deepening. 1988, there were so many issues in such a way that now there was a plan of MMD now, being constituted and all that. So we discovered that during that period, what missed was to have the real program, which was to be incepted by our own country people, our own leaders. What we moved with from the first regime was these were borrowed economic initiatives. And I was privileged to discover quite a lot of things which happened from the industrialization strategy and all that. And I didn't punch holes into the programs of our elders because they delivered, and I'm sure their plans was to ask their children to come and usher in the real economic independence. So what I did with my colleagues, because I've been working with people that I had to engage, but as the architect of the programs, in 1991 we reviewed, we discovered that the actual problems actually they were actually propelled. MMD government came into power without having the actual programs. The privatization happened without any money coming to the country. So when I discovered this, I started working on what needs to be done. I analyzed sector by sector and also giving a life cycle on what the proposed economic imperatives are. We had to develop. The reason why I'm dwelling on this particular aspect is because I want to address the issues which there is a perception that Mudolo has come from nowhere and getting into, pursuing the mandate from the Zambian people. That is not true.
Thank you, Mr. Mudolo. That really helps. I think when you've told us where you were born from, from the Copper Belt, you went to school in Isoka, you began your entrepreneur endeavors from a young age. And even when you were at school, when you were in professional setup, you ran side hustles. You've just mentioned that you went to Hong Kong and then South Africa. Let's just briefly deal with that. And, I'd cited that I noticed that you went to Henriot and to Edinburgh Business School in London. And
that was Edinburgh School,
there. So, but transition from Hong Kong to South Africa, how you get established, and then I want to ask some pertinent issues on your role in South Africa. And then we go to
I went also
your proposal for the transformation.
Mwamba, just there.
Yeah.
Mwamba, just there. I also established in the United Kingdom. I lived there, so I was a man who would live in Hong Kong, live in England, and I still maintain those, my business endeavors there extensively, because when I was in Hong Kong is where I connected to the entire global machinery in terms of how the world functions. I got to discover several things which I don't think a lot have been privileged, but I feel very good about it, because as a village boy, to find myself discovering what drives the economic programs of the world, walking into the corridors of the world, that alone, I'm very grateful to God. And that is how I deepened my knowledge. I deepened my perspective in terms of what do I bring back home. So this is where the story started. So it's not like politics started when I'm not a politician. I'm a businessman. I'm an entrepreneur. And my plan for the country is actually around that. I've prepared a plan for the country as an entrepreneur. And I want to dismiss a notion where several of our people, the few that I've been speaking to, they believe that a businessman should not run a country because of the current situation in the country. What has happened to our President Hakainde Hichilema, who is known to be an entrepreneur, and now he has taken our country into ICU. So that is not true. There is a difference. I am a person who never leveraged any government money. I'm a person who never leveraged any money that was given to me for free. So I understand what it takes to be an entrepreneur. Where you start, how do you finance, how do you put together a framework that yields outcomes. So the notion of one start thinking that business people cannot run the country. No. Today, this evening, you will learn that business people can actually, they are the best people to run the country. And I will be demonstrating to you some of the things that have not been silent. I have taken initiative to approach our governments. I approached the government through IDC, even that was, I think that was in 2023, 2022, 2023, somewhere there. I approached the UPND government through IDC that let us assist to provide a financing mechanism for KCM, for Mpane, when Grenco gave back the mine, Mopane, back to the government. For me, that was a blessing. When Vedanta got out of KCM and was given back to the country, that was a blessing. But what is disheartening is that the people from IDC, they have got our communication. The Minister of Mines, Mr. Honorable Kabus, he must be able to confirm that he had received a letter from our company, where I chair the company. We had a plan to assist the government to make sure that the history does not repeat itself. I had brought in an investor who I negotiated very well, that this investor would give the government $500 million against a mere offtake agreement, without them going to secure collaterals and look at that and all these issues which they have gone through. That program was short-changed. So when we got short-changed, and I realized to say, then we are in danger. Because if the government would dismiss a program that is going to completely transform our country, we wanted to work with only one asset, which is the mining asset, which is KCM. I negotiated a deal, which I want the Zambians to listen and pay particular attention to this. I negotiated a deal to make sure that the government enters into an offtake agreement with an investor who is still there even now to provide 500, and where I proposed, I did a financial modeling because I've been following our programs in Zambia, where I've listened to even one of my brothers from Copperbelt, Kangombe, asking a question in Parliament that in this country we have all the learned financial experts. Does it mean that we do not have people who can do the financial modeling to find a solution for the country? And I'm confirming that I did this. I tried to advise the government. We were not given an opportunity. And it is from that premise that I decided to say, I have to get into the ring of leadership. The $500 million could have come in without them going to borrow, to come in as a cash call. I pay me, I produce for you, then you buy. It was a very, very clear deal.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Mudolo. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Mudolo. Dear viewers, we are hosting Willah Joseph Mudolo, a businessman, Zambian businessman, resident in South Africa. He has just walked us through his early life and his professional life. And I want now to move to, the state of our economy and then your proposed solution and why you think you should lead the Patriotic Front. I'll take a short break before that, and colleagues, share this broadcast and let's listen to Mr. Mudolo. I will take a few, just a moment of a break, and I'll come back to you.
6. This story I'm hearing that the president has apita. Koma ma MP na makansela bazaluza. Manje president azasebe. Verani. Manje president muni ona nilipe zero inega. Manje president azasebeza bwanje eka. Azasebeza bwanje president eka. Mukanipasa ma independence mu parliament muja nikabauza oti lamulo tiende uko bakana. How is the president going to run a government? The president needs councillors. The president needs council chairpersons. The president needs mayors. The president needs MPs. The president needs ministers. Ndiye suti yo 2026 tifuna suti. Ngati tina vuto na MP watu ni mukazika panzi iwe bwera mkale hapa. Iwe kala. Zambia, Muma councils where we have no council chairpersons, we have no mayors, tivutika. Tifuno gwira nchito, mayor akamba vinango. Tifuna mulusaka, mayor watu mulusaka muno, mayor watu. Zambia, Kukopa belt, all the districts, we have mayors except in Ndola and Kitwe. 2026, we want our own mayor in Ndola. Ndiye nkani yo?
Thank you very much to our dear listeners, and thank you for sharing this broadcast. We are hosting a Zambian national resident in South Africa, Mr. Willah Joseph Mudolo. He's recently expressed interest to stand as a PF presidential candidate to join the other aspirants in the Patriotic Front. And in turn, he has said he wishes to stand as president if the PF adopted him. Mr. Mudolo, tell us now your transition in South Africa, when you established the business and how you have settled in South Africa before we go to the next issue.
Thank you, Ambassador. So, as I've indicated in my earlier, conversation, is that I have been doing business in so many countries. South Africa is just one of them, and we're in various sectors, finance, advisory, property development, commodities trading, fund management. So we across various markets. So I still maintain my business in Asia, maintain business in South Africa, and maintain business in Europe. So there are several businesses that I am into. And so South Africa is not the only one. That's the reason why I wanted to clarify that aspect, that yes, in South Africa, this is the base. It's like home now. But I still maintain my business interest in Asia, my business interest in Europe, and several other African countries. So we trade across various industries and sectors. So that's what I do.
Recently, you were in the news in the negative. First of all, I saw a wonderful story which I shared on my page in 2022, where there was one African listed, among the few Africans listed in Egypt. Egypt is building a new city. It's $100 billion project, and you are listed among the financial advisors or brokers of that $100 billion project. What are you doing, or what were you doing in Egypt?
Thank you very much. That is just one of the transactions. And I'm going to be careful because of the confidentiality agreements that we sign with our clients. I've raised money, billions and billions for several countries, not only in Africa, across Asia, Europe as well. So that is what my specialty is, and that is the reason why I strongly feel that I can do the same for my own country, where I've not been given a privilege to participate in contributing to my own country. So I am involved in so many deals where I raise money. I assist the governments when they are struggling, when they have issues to raise money. That is where we come in. So we come to fix problems.
You should have helped with our debt restructure. We had this debt overhang and it needed to be restructured. Did you offer yourself and your skills?
I started pursuing to try and contribute to my own country. Several years back, it is almost now 10 to 11 years. I have tried, even when we were still in power as Patriotic Front, I tried to be part of the people who would contribute to my own country. I feel sad that Zambia went with a begging bowl, now trying to restructure debt, which they are so excited about it, when what they have done is completely not helpful to our country. The debt restructuring, which maybe Zambians are excited, the process has not even been completed. There was no need for the government to go and hire people when we are here. So I've tried to participate and the opportunities were not availed. I've tried in this particular government, current government, UPND government, to try and assist. The opportunity was not provided. Restructuring a debt for the country does not require the approach that they have taken. You can see now that our economy is in ICU. Even if you look at the current budget, which was recently presented, you can't bring in austerity measures in a country like Zambia at this stage. The structural adjustments have to be done properly, not the way it has been done. I was actually very sad that they go with a begging bowl. Zambia does not need to go through what we are going through. It is very, very simple. What they needed to do, you can't, Bamwamba, I'll give you an example. You cannot bring austerity measures in a country which is already in ICU. It's like now kwa tenko ngore kumuntu. Eri akwebati wilaya kunchito mkubomba ikala fipanganda. Nishiwari mkwa tenko ngore. You don't do that. And Zambia has got so much potential as a country. So the structural adjustments, the one which is in place right now, it is not new. That is what we have been enduring from way back in 1964. We have gone through that process. Why? Because there is no financial engineering that has been deployed to leverage what we have. It is very, very simple. You don't need the magic here. the austerity measures which have been put in place right now, what they have done, they have actually, they have done what we call import compression. So the import compression, what they are trying to do is to reduce on the import side and generate surpluses, from the net export earnings, because we are only depending on copper. You do not manage the economy that way. Zambia has got so much potential. What the government needed to do, you can manage the public debt through diversification mechanism, where you look at various components of the economy. You look at tradable sectors. That's what you have to look at. You look at tradable sectors. And I'll give you something which is going to shock the Zambian people today. When you look at tradable sectors, okay, these are the sectors where we can generate surpluses. The issue which we are facing today, if I am given an opportunity to come in as a president under my government, one thing we'll do is to establish a sovereign fund. The sovereign fund, where do you get money? We have assets. What they needed to do was to look on the asset side, because you need to look at external balance. That should be your focus, because what they do right now, where they went to IMF and secured that, and they get excited that they have secured 1.3 billion. It is an insult to us as Zambians, especially myself, who understand what needs to be done. And I'll give you a very simple reason. What they needed to do was to look at on the asset side of our balance sheet, to say, okay, we have got the mines. For instance, we had Mopane, we have KCM, and they could have actually established a company that could have focused on exploration, so that when you explore the assets and you have the bankable reports which says there is that asset with a value of with such a value of maybe minerals, copper, gold, manganese, and lithium. So you can have several assets which they can do that. And what you do there is that you get, for instance, Mopane. I just want to give an example of what is there. You get Mopane. What I did was to arrange with an offtake. There's a company that is a major consumer of copper. I arranged it to say, this is some sort of like in Bemba said Dionko, they can try to resolve the issues. They would have gotten that offtake agreement. I propose that the 500 will be paid. You have to cut deals for you to establish a very good foundation and how you manage, the public debt. So the public debt, in my government, if given opportunity, we will manage that through diversification. We will make sure that assets like Mopane, we get part of it, 50% of it is owned by the government, and then we sign, I had arranged that the company that I had arranged was to sign a contract, an offtake agreement for 20 years, for example, for 20 years offtake. But the money was not in that particular offtake. There are two ways you can do it. They could have gone actually to the market, negotiate with, I know the companies, and they were ready to do that. We had approached the Minister of Mines, we wrote to them, and they didn't come back. So what they could have done, it was very simple. Get a 20-year offtake agreement for 50% of production. You say 50% of the production that will be producing from KCM, it will be going to this particular company with an agreed discount of maybe minus 12% LME price. And then, but the money was not only in that particular transaction. The money was in the financial instrument where we arranged that we would have an insurance contract. Either we go to the market, discount the cash flows of 20 years to now, and we had a very good deal where the government could have mobilized $12 to $15 billion, which is nothing.
Yeah.
And that cash,
they could have had. Before we transition to the next set of interview, there is an elephant in the room. You have left Zambia. You are doing business across the world, like you mentioned, in Europe and Hong Kong, and you're now resident in South Africa. A big scandal occurs. This religious prophet, Shepherd Bushiri, well known in South Africa, with a massive church. The authorities are pursuing him, and your name pops up And what was your role and what were the concerns of the South African government? What was the state looking for you and alleging? And how far is that case?
Ambassador, that case, I thank you very much because I need to address. This is something that our people must listen to. I've seen there's a lot of things happening on Watchdog and of course we're trying to scandalize me. This case was one of those unfortunate circumstances where I found myself in an entanglement and I did not commit any crime. The investigating officers were compromised, the prosecution was compromised, the matter has never gone on trial. I've not been tried. I have an application in court which I sued the government to declare this matter unlawful arrest. And that application, even today, as I'm speaking to you, the government has never replied, the South African authorities have never replied. I wouldn't even coin it to say South African authority. It's just a few individuals who have abused their office using the helmet of the government. I never committed any crime. If I committed any crime, then I wouldn't be here. I am in South Africa. I've cooperated with the South African authorities to ensure that I deal with any issue that surrounds me. I am a money lender myself. I lent money. It was a normal business transaction which I engaged with the man of God. I'm not going to start throwing mud at him or say things. What I would say here is that I found myself in a very compromised situation, not because of any other person, because of this. The few individuals who were compromised here in South Africa, and I'm still here. If I was a criminal or someone who had committed, an offense, and I know that this would take me to prison, I would have fled the country as well. But I have cooperated. I am here, and I take a full responsibility that this has to be resolved. So it is not something that would stand,
relationship with Prophet Shepherd Bushiri, was it spiritual or it was a business?
I engaged with Shepherd on business terms. It was not on the basis. I'm one person who is coming from a Christian background. When I find a person who is a man of God and is doing business, of course I'll go into their church when I find them, when I'm waiting maybe to have a meeting with them, and I pray with them. But I was not a member of his ministry. I've worked with him on business terms. It was business. And I wouldn't say he is the one who arrested me. It is the South African authorities, which the prosecutors, who I do not even want to coin as the South African government doing that, rather focus on, because I know the truth. It is a few individuals who were the investigating officers, they were compromised for reasons which I cannot mention here. And the prosecution, they were compromised for reasons which I cannot mention here. So it is a matter that is going to be cleaned up, and it is not something that can stop me from pursuing my political agenda. That is the fact. I did not commit a crime. And that is why I'm here in South Africa, respecting the law, and have complied with every process without breaching one single component of it. But so this is as good as a resolved issue. Your political opponent
seems to have taken an issue, and I'm glad that you have clarified.
Ambassador,
your political enemies are saying you can't even come to Zambia and campaign.
They are going to see me. Ambassador bakambona na Africa kurusaka anytime soon. Anytime soon na Africa murusaka nukuya chita address abantu besu. Wino fikwa blogo afya. So ilili ashiri baletera ati yoba mdoro echinechi. Ba watchdog na bakoswe. Ni state house. Ba president baka inde badi ishibano kuishibati. Tuliyotuma company tuliyatwabo tuliyeto babomfya mukuchita scandalize abantu. So I did not commit any crime, and I urge my fellow young people in Zambia not to entertain what they are trying to do. They know very well that Mudolo is coming with the solutions of the nation. As I will be revealing to you things which we could have done for the country to prosper. I mentioned earlier that the country is in ICU. We could have removed the country in the intensive care unit, but you can see that the problems are deepening. You can see the structural adjustments that has happened in the recent budget. That speaks to you that our country has no plan. They do not have a program for the nation. And that is why I'm stepping forward to say I cannot continue be on the sidelines and push my agenda from the sidelines, which I'm not going to be honored. I need to be there. I have got a program for the country, Ambassador. Ninkwatama program na pape na pane salani shari from Zambia. Zambia could have prospered. But why? UPND, they think they know it all. People who have got skills, the expertise like myself, they do not want to listen to us. KCM is a very good example. We had arranged $500 million could have come in as a cash call. You know, pay me, I'll produce for you, then you buy at a discount. And we negotiated a very good deal to say 50% of production will be sold elsewhere. And also, I had done financial modeling, which I could have provided, which could have raised $12 to $15 billion for the government without them going to struggle with the debt restructuring. We could have provided a mechanism that the government today, they could have gotten that 15, we discount those cash flows for that period. And we now raise money. In fact, me, I'm a deal maker. What I could have done, instead of us even spending money on providing the insurance slab for us to go to the stock exchange and list it there and then discount the cash flows on forward contracts, I wouldn't have done that. What we would have done, I negotiated a deal to say, you guys, you want copper, this company needed the copper from our country. I said, look, we sign an offtake agreement for 20 to 30 years.
Yeah, not to cut you short, I love that proposal for Mopani and KCM, and you keep on talking about this. I think you were intimately involved. Here on this program, we've bemoaned that Zambia had an opportunity, I think, to own these large-scale mines. For the first time, I think, in almost 20, 30 years, they were going to be owned by government. And with the projections, copper today is trading at $11,000, but the benefits will not come to us. The benefits will go to KCM, First Quantum, or IRH. Why? Because we do not have controlling stakes in these mines. So I have argued that the opportunity we had that was started by President Edgar Lungu, where we owned Mopani and KCM, was a great opportunity, especially the projection of copper in light of the EV, multi-industry that has emerged. But we seem to have missed an opportunity and instead got, so-called, partners then to invest and reap the benefit. And I'm glad that you said you had taken it upon yourself. You had looked for an investor and you wanted to, for government to run KCM, but you'd have injected in about $500 million. I will take another short break, and when I come, let's look at the solutions. I'm glad that Mr. Mudolo has already said that the economy is in ICU. So we don't have to discuss any further. The economy is in ICU. What are his solutions to this economy? And how does he hope the PF will embrace him? We'll come back and discuss those brief issues.
We are talking about the neighborhood. I'm also aware of the electricity problems that Zambia is facing. But despite the problems that we have with the supply of electricity in Zambia, you still supply us with electricity. Again, you would have said, we cannot sacrifice our power when we have shortage. But you still give us. Katima Mlilo town, where I come from here, is supplied with power from Zambia. When you have a power outage here, we also have power outage. But that's the brotherhood we are talking about, the neighborhood we're talking about. And we should only be grateful and continue to exist in this manner. You spoke also about the...
So we urge our citizens that they remain calm. We can see light at the end of the tunnel, and that tunnel is now becoming shorter by the day. As we speak, we now have unprecedented rains in the last maybe 2 decades. And with those rains, yesterday Cabinet was informed that load shedding is likely to begin to diminish by June 2025. This is because the major water catchment areas of northwestern province into the Barotse, plains, and now also the Kafue, flood plains. Water takes 3 months journey to move from Kaleni Hills, from Chavuma, into Victoria Falls, into Kariba. 3 solid months. Water moves very slowly in the plains because it's flat. This water which you see when it rains here in Lusaka, we are going for work at ZNBC. Then you find that water is running fast. It's here in Lusaka. But the water needed to change the electricity situation or the water level situation in the Kariba or Kafue Gorge, upper and lower, or Iteji, moves very slow because once it gets to the plains are flat, so water velocity for overland flow of water is reduced.
You've heard the target already, 3 million tons. When we set this target, a lot of our political competitors say, Wofi, Wobera, Wenye, Boza, Kubea. This year we're tinkering on 1 million tons, knocking on the door. Psychological mark, as the minister said. It doesn't come by chance. It's the things we're discussing that we've had to do. Finish, Ambassador. It's the things that we've had to do, we're doing to get to 3 million tons, break the psychological mark, even our detractors, and they're there. Few as they may be, but they make a lot of noise. As the minister says, how can you talk of a failed state? You were running the country, you sunk us into debt, you failed to restructure the debt, you had no credibility. The economy was declining at minus 2.8%. Your friends come and clean up the mess you created. Instead of saying thank you, you're saying, no, Zambia is now a failed state. Are you talking to kids or you're talking to who? Honestly speaking. On average,
So, according to President Hakainde Hichilema, he has put us on a good footing. The economy is growing. Things are better than 2021. This particular statement riled many Zambians because people know what the state of the economy was in 2021 and what the state of the economy is. They know the price of milling meal in 2021. They know the price of milling meal now. They know the price of fuel in 2021. They know the price of fuel, electricity, and they're feeling this pain. But you have a head of state who says we've achieved. He has literally even launched his campaign that he should be re-elected. You've used words that the economy is in ICU. But the people running it are saying they are better. When you hear that, what is your reflection? And let's begin to go to your proposed solutions for the economy.
Mwamba, thank you very much. The president, for him to actually start begging people to praise him for his failures, it is very sad. The country, when the country is doing well, you do not have to ask, and it is not all about, and one thing which I would like to clarify here, it is not, the performance of the country may be measured in terms of the GDP, but it does not necessarily translate that the wealth gets to the ordinary person. When UPND came into power, I was one of the people who expected a lot from them, that they had a diversification plan. For a country to prosper, What we expected UPND to do was to focus on the primary sector reforms so that we start generating domestic surpluses. There is no country, every country that prospers, you must have maybe 100 or thousands of product lines that you export. So you increase your net export earnings. That is what makes the country prosper, because you begin now to generate surpluses. The issue of going with a begging bowl, where President Hichilema, and I'm speaking to him candidly, he had no plan. That is the reason why we are saying he has done what he could according to his level of understanding. He needs to give us an opportunity. I'm coming in with solutions. One of the things which I will do under my government is to ensure that we increase the net export earnings by having we'll look at tradable sectors like agriculture, tourism, to provide service, the mining sector itself, manufacturing. Those are the issues which we are supposed to look at. Now, by HH, when he came into power as a president, the first thing he started to do was street measures. And now say civil servants cannot buy vehicles. Now the next time we'll hear is to say people should start going with scooters to the offices. And that is not how you deal with the issues. What they were supposed to do is to look at things. You look at the asset side of the country's balance sheet. We have mineral resources. What they could have done was very, very simple, especially something that the PF government did. And I'm not saying the PF government did not do certain things in the wrong way, but was to get back the assets, which is Mopane and KCM. And by now, this is 4 years, the government could have generated, and I want to stress on something which myself have done, the financial modeling and all that. I had prepared to say, okay, considering that this government has come in, I was able to model a mechanism, a financing model, which could have allowed, and I negotiated with the company to say, look, maybe we might not even go to list to the London Stock Exchange for us to discount the cash for forward contracts and mobilize resources on the basis of which would have been derived from the offtake agreement, which was to be signed between a very big company that is the biggest copper consumer. Not only that, we could have had gold. Zambia by now could have established gold refinery, which then it increases the production by financing the small-scale miners, where they can now buy gold from them at maybe minus 12% market prices, and then the government is able to leverage that gold to generate more domestic resources. Now, the issue which is here, which the president, I'm even wondering why he should think people should start begging him. He has failed. He has taken our country into the ICU. They could have generated $12 billion to $15 billion. I'm saying this because this is something that personally I was able to do. I have that financing mechanism. And my plan was that when we get the funding from this particular asset, we then diversify. They could have gotten part of the cash, push it into the production, into agro processing, agriculture. You scale up the agriculture production. Assist farmers, give them the machinery, mechanize their farming, give them machinery. But now if you bring in a mechanism of street measures without really looking at on the other side of things, because what they are doing right now, Chimono put that Omonto, Mwamwebati, stop. So what they have been doing by Mwamba, just to educate people who may not understand this, basic elements of the economy. When you see the government is bringing in austerity measures and they are not looking at finding a way of how they generate more resources through diversification so that they start generating domestic resources, it means what they are saying, what someone is telling you is that reduce the kenokushtemiti for hospitals, stop investing in education. That's the reason why they will say there's free education. How can you have free education? In my foundation, when our staff from the foundation, they have gone to visit some of these schools, they find 150 children in one classroom and they are seated. What type of free education is that? Under my government, we will be able to build schools. Schools that a teacher, there are a lot of teachers who are not employed. We would have teachers where a classroom should have at least a maximum of 30 pupils or students. in that class. That way we are able to deliver quality education. So the president, for him to say he is begging for people to recognize what they are doing, it means he has no plan. He has come, he has hit the end of the road where he has completely shattered his plans, and he's completely shattered. He has no program. So I have a program where we will ensure that even our miners there, the so-called Jarabos, we will give them an opportunity. We will finance them. That is how you increase. You're celebrating. I listened to one of the programs, which was, I think, a few days ago, where I was saying we have hit 1 million tons of copper production. We can do better. You finance all these small, you finance all these small miners. They start now producing and selling to the government. We finance them. The funds which I arranged, the mechanism that I modeled the cash flow and put it in place, was to allow the government deploy, even get maybe $2 billion to go to agriculture, invest in agriculture, maybe another $2 billion go into tourism, maybe another, $2 billion go into manufacturing.
Thank you very much.
You diversify, but
there are two issues I want to draw your attention to. The country is facing a serious crisis of load shedding. In your thoughts, have you paid any attention of how we can resolve this crisis? We are 2 years into the crisis, and government has not acted very well. First of all, they have continued to export power, I think, to attempt to generate premium money to ZESCO, so that ZESCO can then unbundle the huge debt they have to independent power producers and their operation crisis. But this has not gone very well. Our industries, SMEs, have literally died the last 2 years. There's this crisis of load shedding. Have you paid attention to it? I know in a program of 1 hour, 30 minutes, we can't handle everything. That's why I encourage my guests to come the second time, so that a two-part series where then we can go and delve into their economic and political thoughts in detail. Today was totally introductory. But there are three key issues that are important. Number one, speak to the issue of load shedding. And number two, I want to bring you to the PF, to the members, then to the opposition, and then, we invite our callers to participate. Let's start with load shedding. Have you had any thoughts of how we can resolve this crisis?
Mwamba, there is no magic in terms of resolving load shedding. I have a plan which would have dealt with these issues. And the reason why I made an arrangement to be part of contributing to my country and modeling the cash flow which could have generated more resources, I was actually getting to that, was that a big chunk of the cash which could have been raised as cash upfront, without even maybe going through a very lengthy process of trying to immunize the instrument which would have been raised through, the offtake agreement and all that, we could have just cut a deal, which I spoke to. Okay, this is, you need copper from us, we need $10 to $15 billion upfront, you pay us, because we are giving you this opportunity. That deal was agreed. That's what pains me. We could have easily got we could have allocated actually $4 to $5 billion to invest in the energy generation. It is very simple. We have a mechanism where we could have scaled up in solar farms, we could have scaled up, in hydro generation. We could have invested more money to generate, and also the short-term interventions. We cannot let the economy be in ICU. The resources, it was sufficient enough in my planning that the government was able actually to provide short-term intervention to energy, because you can't have a marketeer, the small businesses, then how do they survive? And then the president comes to say he wants praises because he has done well. What nonsense is this? So this is painful, and the reason why I'm using the word nonsense, this is not disrespecting anyone. I love the president, I respect him as a father of the nation and as our president. But what is happening right now, it is something that should not be entertained by every Zambian. Entrepreneurs are suffering. I have the mechanism where we are going even to generate. Zambia will be able to export more, even will be able to sell even more, to export more energy. We will have more for the domestic consumption. We have actually provided for each province Each province is going to be an industrial hub, which is I'm going to unpack in my next podcast, which I'll be addressing the nation on what economic imperatives we have put in place.
In the comments, hello, I've seen in the comment, Mr. Mudolo, already people are saying that you are sounding like President Hakainde Hichilema, who promised that, look, he had arranged $25 billion to resuscitate our economy, that the economy will improve as soon as he comes into office and the kwacha will improve by 14 hours. Our people are remembering that. How different are you? How different are these pledges you are speaking to what President Hakainde proposed then?
Mwamba, and to all my fellow citizens, HH promised things which you did not ask him how he would do it. I am committing to say I was able to mobilize funds which this particular government, the UPND government, refused to take it. They didn't give us an opportunity. We engaged with IDC where to assist them, even to structure a sovereign wealth fund, because we had proposed that we will have a company, because the way you generate, the sovereign fund, you have to look on the asset side to say, okay, this is what we have. We have the mines there, we have that and that. All these mines. Do the exploration, go to auctions, and you make sure that 50% of that is what you sell. You cannot come to the people with the promises. What I'm telling you now, it is not a promise. It is a practical aspect which does not require rocket science to understand it. I'm not going to use structural adjustments to manage the public debt. We will manage the public debt through diversification. We will generate more electricity. And how we are going to generate more electricity is that we are looking on the asset side. What do we have at Zambian? If you we cannot leverage our own assets. So leveraging our own assets, we are not saying we sell all the government assets. We are saying we are going to form an exploration company that is going to work hand in hand with ZCCM IH to make sure that the government has the ability to have these assets go to auctions and they sell maybe 50 to maybe even 49%. And people buy and you get money. It goes into a sovereign wealth fund. That is what it invests into the domestic programs, tradable sectors where you start generating surpluses. You cannot go with a begging bowl when you have the actual assets that can give you money and you go and start lining up with a begging bowl. They have struggled. So HH never promised anything. I listened to his campaigns, and that's the reason why I didn't vote for him, because I never believed in him, that he can transform my economy. For you to transform the economy, the economic imperative that comes in, if you talk of manufacturing, you need to have a full life cycle where you understand how do you mobilize, what type of human capital do you need. The government must be able to generate more resources to spend. You can't cut spending. When you cut spending in simple terms, in Chibemba, Kuranda, Iwe, because what they have been doing is that they suppress the import suppression, and then they completely compress domestic demand. And when they compress domestic demand, then you have nothing, you have so much pressure. When you have pressure, then they tell you to say, okay, you can sell this government asset at a cheaper price. That is why you see all these mines have not produced any outcome that benefits the Zambian people. And this cannot continue. When agents need, that we need to do that. So this is not a rocket science, not a magic. It is not a promise. I am saying I am able to mobilize funds now using our own domestic assets. That's what we have. You look at that. When you have to look at the external balance. You deal with the issues. Our country has been on structural adjustments for many years, and that's the reason why we cannot prosper. But I'm about austerity budget. We fertilizer. So if you austerity measures, you are cutting spending. What are you cutting spending on? Import compression, fuel. Fuel. We have to reduce on that. It's Chimono Kujat now Kongore. Then someone says, okay, remove your children from school. They shouldn't go to school. or they should not eat. No, you sit down and say, what do I have that I can start generating more resources, more revenue? So Zambia is a country that is blessed from the foundation of itself. And something that we need to understand is that the revelation of our economic transformation, it is very much spiritual, because when David Livingstone died in Chitambo, you will see that Zambia is actually the foundation. He said, and I'm going to read verbatim here to just read as it is. He said, Lord, on this land where I rest my bending knees, let it become a mighty Christian nation, a beacon of hope for the African continent and the light of the world. Zambia, we are in the Garden of Eden, and we fail to understand what we have there. You do not. By now, the UPND government, they were supposed to have provided, you will see that when it comes to electricity, they do not even have a plan. That's the reason why you see that there's a Canona Energy, which in my opinion is a scam, because they have created Babika Bariapa. Instead of Wakuchin Sadabadeshta Amaraiti, Party 2 Kwacha, to Arabi Kerako, Party 5 Kwacha Pantu, they want to collect money they hear. It is their own, that Canona Energy is a scam. They are collecting their own friends. I don't want to mention their names, but I've got a record which I can share that they collect. Why did the government, the Mozambican government, why did they not sign directly with ZESCO and import electricity into the country? But going through, why do you establish another barrier there? That you want to create another layer of expense. What did the Canona Energy do? Did they generate capital to generate more electricity? No.
Was recently introduced raises concern, because it's like we have just introduced middlemen and we've robbed ZESCO of resources. Let me, before we invite callers, the issue of the Patriotic Front has, since you are a resident in South Africa, has the Patriotic Front and its members welcomed you? You are tracing your membership and support and financial support to the PF from, as late as 2003, 2004, and that you knew Mr. Sata very well, and that you have somehow supported the PF over the time. But many members are just hearing about Mudolo now. Who is this Mudolo? And I'm glad that you took time to explain yourself. But are you confident that the PF, both the leadership and members, will give you a chance to lead? And are you in any way interacting with the leadership currently and with contestants like Honorable Given Lubinda, Honorable Brand Munduvile, Mutoto Kafuaya, Grayford Monde, myself and others? What are you doing to bring yourself to the fore of the party and then participate in its leadership?
Thank you, Mwamba. Ambassador, it's very simple. The country has divisions. That is the most urgent issue. And my focus is to unite every opposition leader. I've been speaking to others. I've spoken to you. I've spoken to Grayford Monde. I've spoken to Nakachinda himself as a Secretary General of Patriotic Front. I've spoken to others, including my brother, who had to speak to him, Brother Sean Tembo had to speak to him. I've spoken to several others, and I'm still speaking to others who are still in me. I've spoken to my brother KBF. We have been engaging. We are talking. So it is not about Mudolo to be fought and not wanting to be a president. I do not want to be a president for self-interest. The most important thing is that we need to unite the country. We are one country. We are one family. Zambia is known for peace. The issues that is happening right now in the country, where there are divisions, I see a lot of impasse that is that has confronted us in PF. I am not saying I'm going to work in isolation. I'm coming forward purely because I've come to realization that I have programs that can start. I've spent close to 2 decades of preparation. That is the reason why, Mwamba, I'm even asking that I need another podcast where I will unpack what I've prepared for the country, solution-based. And this is something that I would also like to take this opportunity. Kwibonsa misepela ba youth won't say let us not engage in confrontational politics. Let us not engage in insults. Let us become innovators. Innovative thinking, it is very, very critical. Let us fight with brains of what solutions are we bringing to our country. Not to insult. Insult does not yield anything. Even those who have insulted me, who I know some of them, I will have no issues. They are my brothers, they are my sisters. When they will come, I'll speak to them, I will embrace them. We have to work as one family. We have to work as one force. We need to remove the UPND government. This is not a joke. If we divide ourselves and we start fighting, we are not going to remove. And it is my appeal, actually, to the UPND government. President HH, actually, Your Excellency, I'm speaking to you as my big brother and as a father, as my father. You have to consider stepping down. To step down, agree, you are going to work with me as a statesman. And if you want to still serve in the government, we saw what happened in Russia some years back, we can even create a portfolio for you if you want to be a prime minister, but you have to agree that we are in ICU and the country cannot continue to be where we are. I have spent a very good 16 years of finding solutions. So it is not something that Mudolo is coming to create confusion. And I have been led to serve under someone. But this someone, I have a condition, and this condition is not a complicated condition. I'm saying I do not have time with all what I've invested in discovery. Someone may say Mudolo does not understand, has been out of the country. No, I traveled because I wanted to discover certain things that will help my own country. And that's what I've done. So I have solutions to transform our country from the way to go. We seek the mandate from the people. We are not going to go into discovery. The reason why the UPND government has struggled, because they have been in the discovery, trying to fish solutions. You can see this struggling to restructure the debt. That is an insult. Going with a begging bowl to IMF, and what is that? You don't do that. And then you start putting pressure on the country that you cannot buy cars, you need to reduce this. It doesn't work like that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mudolo. So we are opening the phone lines, and I love the challenge you've made to President Hakainde Hichilema that he's not able to resolve the current crisis and that he should even proceed to resign. And you're even offering him a job of a prime minister that he learns under your tutelage and he can come back later. Wow. So President Hakainde Hichilema, I know you're listening and you're watching. There's an offer on the table. Mr. President, the crisis of the country, you cannot handle, allow others to handle. But there is a rosy outcome out of this. You will not be persecuted or harassed. There's even a job offer for you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Mudolo. We are hosting Willah Joseph Mudolo, a Zambian national resident in South Africa. Let me take the first call. So we'll pick calls. I know he has another interview scheduled after mine, but we'll see how we can quickly pick some calls and then allow Mr. Mudolo to answer. Caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Just a minute. Hello, caller. Tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Yes. Good evening, Mwamba.
Good evening.
And good evening, Mudolo. I will stay anonymous.
Anonymous,
Thank
make your
you very
contributions.
much. Yes, please.
I'm sorry, we lost volume there. I think we have to replay again. I'll ask you to repeat your question. I think when I did the switch over, we lost your volume. Just hold on. But maybe for now, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Tell us, hello, caller. Uh-oh. Okay, we've lost that caller. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Okay, this is Emmanuel Mwamba from Kitwe.
Ernest, just a minute. You are faint. Let me just put you on speaker. Yes, Ernest.
Okay, I'm saying.
No, you are. Just a minute. Oh my God. Just a minute. Let's resolve this issue. Oh, we've lost that caller. Just a minute again. I'm so sorry. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening, Mwamba. Good evening, Mudolo. Welcome to Zambian politics. My name is Michael Zefenia Piri. I'm calling from Lusaka, Zambia. The question I have is that we have been hearing that there are certain people who have if he's elected.
Sorry, I was just having that challenge. Just a minute. I think we've resolved that issue. You can now call. There was an issue of volume. Every time I switch, I put a picture or another, I'm losing the volume. And now I think we have resolved that. Make your calls. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Anonymous. So I have some few concerns. I want to say that Mr. Mudolo, in the beginning, you were a bit emotional, I felt. I hope that you can do better next time. Maybe it was just being nervous. We all have such days.
Just hold on. I'm so sorry. Let me just go for a break and I resolve this issue of the phone. Just a minute. Let me just go for a short break. That phone is not going on.
Today we stand at a crossroads, not just of politics, but of conscience. The passing of our humble president, Mr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu, is not only a moment of mourning, it is a moment of reckoning. Let this be a message to every future politician of Zambia. Power is not a crown. It is a responsibility. You are not above the people, you are born of them. You are raised by their trust, and you are judged by how you honor it. What we witnessed during President Lungu's health challenges must never happen again. No family should be dragged through courtrooms while grieving. No widow should plead for dignity. No orphan should wait for justice to bury their father. This is not the Zambia we were meant to be. Let us start over. Let us rebuild. Not just our institutions, but our hearts. Let the death of President Lungu remind us that we are each other's keeper. That love is not weakness, it is our greatest strength. That the Bible commands us to care for the widow, the orphan, and the stranger. and that true leadership begins.
Hello, caller. I hope we have resolved this matter. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Okay, MS Mwamba from Kitwe.
Yes, Mr. Mwamba.
Yes, I'm happy to see our incoming president, Mr. Mudolo. I think what he has presented here is what the European Union. Hello?
Yes, proceed.
Good evening, Ambassador.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Yes, my question, good evening, Mr. Mudolo.
Yes, he can hear you.
Yes, my question is, Mr. Mudolo, I'm sure you've been seeing the political atmosphere that we have here back in Zambia. And it's not so easy, you know. It's more like we are going towards the one-party state as things are going. So based on the fact that you're based in South Africa, how are you planning to come and do your campaigns? As there's never been any, if I'm, correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay, I think he's asking about will you be available for campaigns looking at the political hostility in the country. Okay, the phone is jammed, but let's see how we can take the call. Okay. Hello, caller.
Yes, please. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, but you are very faint.
I can hear you very loud. Is that better?
Let's see. I have so many missed calls, The phone is just jamming. I don't know if I have to give a second line. Just a minute. I'm so sorry. Just a minute. Oh, it looks like I have to give another line because this line is just jammed. Okay, let me just take the break again just to resolve this issue. I'm so sorry to all the callers.
Today we stand at a crossroads, not just of politics, but of conscience. The passing of our humble president, Mr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu, is not only a moment of mourning, it is a moment of reckoning. Let this be a message to every future politician of Zambia. Power is not a crown. It is a responsibility. You are not above the people, you are born of them. You are raised by their trust, and you are judged by how you honor it. What we witnessed during President Lungu's health challenges must never happen again. No family should be dragged through courtrooms while grieving. No widow should plead for dignity. No orphan should wait for justice to bury their father. This is not the Zambia we were meant to be. Let us start over. Let us rebuild, not just our institute.
I have a part 2 with Mr. Mudolo. I will invite callers in the next broadcast, but all the 2 phones that people know, even my personal phones, are jammed. But I've got this caller. Caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Okay, this is Ernest Mwamba from Kitwe.
Ernest, make your contribution quickly. I'm trying to see how we can quickly take some calls, but the phones are jammed.
Okay, I'm happy with what Mr. Mudolo has presented. Actually, this is not exactly what President HH was doing or was saying. The presentation is like what the European countries are doing. The coming in of Mr. Mudolo is like the fresh air that Zambia needs. We are suffering, we are suffocating. And please, Mr. Mudolo, you are welcome to bring solution to our country.
Thank you. Let me see if I can take some more callers. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening, Tata Mwamba.
Hello, Mayo. Is this Honorable Mumbipiri?
Mkwai nine Mumbipiri kuno kuchongwe.
Endita.
President Mudolo, good evening, Mkwai.
No, he can hear.
You know, I'm so excited that he has finally come publicly to speak to the people. Biba ambassador, I knew Mudolo when I was National Youth Chairperson for the Patriotic Front. I was the first National Youth Chairperson MUPF. And when I said, when people are saying they don't know Mudolo, Willah Joseph used to call him. Abantu bale mona kwatinde bepa. But when that story started going round, even Bachimumbwa, who was our Secretary General at that time, confirmed that. Abantu abapalabena Charity Banda, who when inena dibasangira abo bantu mu PF when I joined in 2006. Committee at Lusaka province in Charity Banda, Kalimi, who is now member of parliament for Malole. So Charlem Papusho Kwebata abantu abasangire Mudolo mu PF abayishire mairo ebalera tabamuishiba. How can you know somebody whom you have just joined wali musanga? And one thing which people should realize, MUPF naine shakwata party card. So I'm just glad that you have explained yourself and it's very clear. Secondly, I would like to urge you, Mr. President, to work with the other aspirants. Get everybody on board. Alama politics so tufikirepo kuchita negotiate where we are. If we don't unite, we are doomed. Talk to people like Kasonde Mwenda. Talk to people like Bino Mpundu. Talk to everybody, Avena KBF, everybody who has a political party, so that go 2026, we go as one and one united force, so that we don't give chance to this brutal regime to rig the elections on our fragmentation. Let us speak with one voice. Let each and every one of you learn to negotiate and let the best candidate take the day. As I conclude, Mudolo, there is a story which is going around. Katuishobo mwapere $20,000 at vakandedere. Pantualela that wadimpera 20,000. Ulela ndesyo. I think in Inkalamo. Alaba president talandetera $20,000. Zolo kuno ku Zambia kuli insala. Nga mwadi mupereyo 20,000 na papata munje beso bati muchite report ku police andetere ndalama. Na totela good night.
Okay, thank you very much. Honorable Mumbipiri says she's being accused that she received $20,000 from you. Caller, please make your contributions quickly, then we revert to you.
Hello, Ambassador Emmanuel Mwamba.
Yes, I can hear you, caller. Please make your contributions.
Mkwanye wele nchingo mwika shwa kasama. Ndefu amunji pusheko kwa President Mudolo. Amapange bakwatire fwe bana market ifwe. Fwe basha
mumishika ya chisankano ukubika pofye nemisepela ababana abalekula abaleona ikafe bashikwete efya kuchita icho kanji kutunatemwa sana okumfolo balwa ba president Mudolo efe batukwatire pamonga ifufe ba maketia beba kwata amakwevo aya chikungu echachira bushikuwa kungula mairo washitisha kenshi baletu plan na kabiri rubali nshibala senda mwedo bala isateka Zambia ndefo kuishwesa mapange bakwatire tweba fama tweba stishama taba tweba shirafola tweba leka birano kuti lulu pyanga lwaishire twashita ko fertilizer twapikanya okulima kukuleisa benanga baishire nga bakateka wacha Zambia napange shibakwatire ikufweba fama kabiri ba maketia n'abana besunga emisepera natotera mukwaye.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening. Thank you. I will remain anonymous.
Yes, anonymous.
So I just don't. Yes, please. Mr. Mudolo, I have a few questions for you.
Hold on. I don't know why this is muting you. Just hold on. Just hold on. Just hold on. I correct that. I hope you are now on speaker. Yes, Mama.
Yes, please.
Yeah, that's
so
better.
So my question to you is that if you are not accepted in the Patriotic Front, are you willing to work with another party? And seeing that you are based in South Africa, are you considering moving to Zambia? According to the Constitution, you are required to be a resident of Zambia at least for 12 months. And then I also noticed you mentioned that you are disappointed by the New Dawn government, or you are excited and you have been disappointed. But then at the same time, you said you did not vote for him. Mr. Mudolo, you sound very, very good. You sound a very, very good financial advisor. So you know your game when it comes to money. And that is why you are flashing this money to say you can get Zambia. And I ideally hope that you put Zambia first. As you speak, as you embark on this game, I would also like to find out, do you have any businesses invested in Zambia other than your organization you mentioned about? Do you have businesses that you boast about to say you have really boasting, knowing that you know how the finances work? Have you taken advantage to, to do some businesses in Zambia? But overall, I would like to engage to advise you, I hope you listen, that you take it for Zambia. Get a tone that is united, a tone that is sober, and that you're also calm, and that you get be given an opportunity. You don't sound like you're bulldozing, despite I can tell that you have invested and you know what you want to do, but take a calm position where you want people to listen to you. They don't feel like you are, because you've got the financial muscle, and that is why you want to get a spot. So I can only wish you the best, and it was very lovely to get to listen to you when you are calm and settled. Thank you very much, and good luck.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Hello?
Yes, caller. Quickly make your contributions.
Quickly, I just want to ask the candidate. I've heard him speak. He speaks very well. He's putting Zambia first. With regards to the youth, what's your plan with the youth? President Hichilema has been claiming he wants to make law reforms just for the youth to be involved. What's your plan for the youth?
Okay, I think this will now be my last caller. We seem to have resolved this issue way after, way deep into the program. Caller, please make your contribution.
Hello?
Yes, caller, please make your contributions quickly.
Okay, this is Mr. Piri. First and foremost, I would like to say that to welcome Mr. Mudolo on the political stage of our country. I think he comes indeed with remain resolute. The people of Zambia needs you. There are so many young people that are looking up to you. From the time that we heard your name on the stage, a lot has been said. But having listened to you, I think, like the other caller said, You indeed a breath of fresh air. Sir, please remain strong. I know a lot of people are behind you. We are calling on you. We'll give you the support, and we pledge to work with you to the very end. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to sincerely apologize to my callers. The phones are jammed, and for one reason, the system just shut down. Mr. Mudolo, that's how much interest you received. I think because you were speaking to our country for the first time. And I'm glad that you've accepted to our second interview where you delve into the matters, and we are going to allocate a lot of time to our callers. I recognize you have another interview right, in the next few minutes. Let's use this opportunity to begin to close. Answer some of the calls and then begin to give us a closing remarks.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. Yes, the caller, one of the first caller, I didn't get the name clearly because of the distortions in the call. He is concerned of the current circumstances, that the environment back home is very hostile. And how do I plan to get on the ground? The fact remains, as I've said, our elders, when they fought for independence, they never looked around to see what could be the potential disruption. So, and that does not mean that there were no disruptions. The problems were there. There were enemies around them. So equally myself, I'm not going to give up on this particular call. I'm going in. I understand that, and that's the reason why I'm coming in, to participate and contribute to my country. There's no freedom of speech. People are being persecuted, being jailed left, right, and center. We have to deal with these issues. So I'm coming through. I'm not going to, to fear the circumstances. If I'm going to be locked in prison, I'm going to be locked and I'll come out. The president himself, he was locked in prison and he came out and he's still a president today. So I have a mchimba that uenda mushitutomfwenshi iswa. So I am coming in and ninamtare sunshishe mpapa takuri kukwela kunuma. So by youth, ndeisa vantu vandi tuwalaita unpacki the programs, the National Economic Transformation Program, we will unpack. Feel free to speak. Do not be intimidated because of the laws which have been coined just to oppress and to ensure that you are silenced. Do not fear. It is time for us to liberate our own country. So that is for the first caller, who I think there were some distortions. Regarding Mayoba Mwamba Pili, the issues at hand, where there's so much propaganda, people fabricating stories and left, right, and center. I personally, and those who know who are around me, I am not a person who, when I give someone something, I will talk about it. I'm a very silent person. I believe in a biblical principle that when the right hand does something, the left hand shouldn't know. And that is a principle that I maintain in business. I respect the levels of confidentiality. I have never made any pronouncements or anyone. I saw a lot of things going on regarding the Secretary General's, comments, this and that. Even if those who have received some support from me, support is a personal choice. It's not something, and I'm confirming that I didn't give Mayoba Mwamba Pili $20,000. I did not. Please, Mweba. She's just a committed and a patriotic mother who wants Zambia to become a better country. That is it. I do not. So do not worry that when you get something from Mudolo, tomorrow it will be all over the internet. I've never, that is propaganda that is coming as a result of going on. Beginning to talk things which are completely parallel from the real life of things. So that is the position. And also I want to thank before I get to that, I want to respond to the other caller, I think Madam Helen from Kasama. We have the program for agriculture. We have the program for marketeers. We have the youth empowerment policy that under one of our pillars that we will address. We have mobilized. We have a mechanism that marketeers, because what we intend to do, I think you all understand that Zambia has got 6 to 7 million people who are unbanked. And also these people, they live below average. So we will bring all these people into the supply chain, so and that creates demand. And how do we do this? It's creating jobs. And how do we create jobs? Is to make sure that we finance marketeers, because our ultimate objective is to look at tradable sectors where we start generating domestic surpluses. That is what we want. And in terms of raising money, mwebena Zambia, bantu bandi, mwisakamana, we are going to use our own domestic resources to mobilize funds. We know how to do it. It is not a promise. It's something that I do. That's what I specialize in. And it's not a rocket science. I will demonstrate at a different podcast how this is going to be done. I will be able to give you a mechanism that you can check. We have young men and women who are professionals, they're economists, they're engineers and all that. And we will make sure, that is the reason why we have even decided that the agriculture, we will make sure that in our industrialization framework, the agro-processing is very, and we will bring the agro-processing industries to your own provinces. We are not going to be queuing in Lusaka. We will bring the industrial processing hubs to where you are, and we will ensure that we mechanize. This is time, and that is the reason why I was very saddened when I was told that they want to bring back, what we used to call, I think it used called Zambia. It used, when the youth come out of school, they go to ZNS. Yeah, so the ZNS mechanism. We can't subject the young people to the things of the old. We have the children now who are coming out of school. We can't take them to Zambia National Service. That is a demonstration that the government has no plans, because they look at things which are obsolete. We have a program for the youth where we educate them, and we're going to have even the Zambia Mining School, which is going to teach our people access to capital, and they will be able to sell their production to the government. We will buy, and then the government sells it to the market. We will make sure that the domestic surpluses, we increase the domestic surpluses. That is agriculture is one of the things where Mayoba money. It's one of the things about marketeer. That is how we bring you into production, and we will make sure that we create a mechanism so that our marketeer ngabadefu MP asha capital bashisanga twabapera ngabadefu ayo kushitenga ndabashita ngabadefu ayo kushita moto kabafule bashita moto. Financial sector reforms that I will be unpacking. We have the program. It is not a promise that you heard during the time of the UPND. That was rhetoric, and that is something that I'm confirming to you, that I'm not coming with a promise. We will work together. Under my government, the youth will learn cabinet with the ministers. We can't have recycled politicians. And one thing I would like to say is that we are not saying we are shying away from the institution memory. The institution memory is very, very critical. But there's a mechanism that will create that mechanism which will give us the institution memory. For the young people, we are going to have the youth to be the ministers. We are going to have the youth to be the permanent secretaries. The people that we can train and let them adapt the transformation agenda. We are going to make sure that every province is going to be an economic hub of various economic activities that is going to be there. We will focus on tradable sectors to generate more resources, and I will be demonstrating to you in my next podcast to ensure that you understand that this is not just these are not just statements or be coined as promises, but the practical aspect. You will be able to know that Zambia has the ability to mobilize its own resources, and after that we'll look at the financial sector reforms to make sure that the banks able to be more capitalized to meet the increasing demand that we are going to create in terms of, expanding production activities, and that is how we generate more resources. And that brings in now the debt sustainability mechanism, not the austerity measure, not the structure.
Yeah. So sorry, Mr. President. Sorry. Ms. Mudolo, I have this comment from Linda Banks. She's an international journalist. And I want you to incorporate these thoughts in your closing remarks. Number one, she's saying, Zambia is now spoiled for choice. And to think that the UPND think that there is no opposition, they are mistaken. So he's asking you, Mr. Mudolo, number one, what she's asking you, sorry, she's a lady, what specific leadership values would define your presidency, and how will you ensure they are upheld at every level of government? Number two, how will your administration differ from previous governments in terms of accountability and transparency? Number three, if elected, what will be your first executive action on your first day in office, and why? I bothered to read that question because Linda, based in the United Kingdom, she writes for international media. So I guess she's taken interest from that perspective. Please proceed to make your last remarks and answer Linda Banks. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Ambassador. So my leadership values are very clear. There are no jargons in it. I will be the president who is going to embrace every idea that comes from whether someone is an opposition or is in power or is an ordinary person from the village, or there's no one who is ordinary. So I will be deploying, some sort of servant leadership, and also ensure that I have a branded mechanism of leadership which will incorporate every component from all the leadership principles. And why am I going to do that is to make sure the reason why where we are today as a country. You can imagine if Mudolo was head at some point to say, okay, Mudolo, come here, sit with us. How do we plan together? And then incorporate my ideas. Zambia would not be where we are today. So I have learned that what I've gone through, trying to advance my programs, to the government as a contribution, but without being in power, that has been a challenge. So I will listen to every person. I will be divergent to incorporate the idea. When ideas are received, it is from there that you synthesize and develop, an economic imperative that has got what you need, what you need to do. So these are ideas which come, and I will embrace that. So some of the executive orders, of course, which are which I would make, and of course I'm not going to unpack everything here, is that I will be making sure that some of my executive orders will be the government must control the mining assets and must take a lead in the exploration of the mining so that we can generate sovereign fund. We can establish a sovereign fund, generate cash, and not going with a begging bowl. We have the golden trophy in our hands, and we decide not to use it. Zambia has got oil, for example, which is not explored. We would have Zambia Petroleum Corporation, which is going to partner with international key stakeholders with a strong balance sheet. We make sure that we explore within the shortest possible time and make sure that we leverage that even before we can mine such type of resources, we can leverage that to generate resources, cash that can be deployed in sectors of especially the tradable sectors. Then we start generating domestic surpluses. That's what we're going to do. So these are some of the executive orders. So there will be several companies that are going to be established, state-owned, the SOEs. And also, the other thing is which I'm trying to look at, we will make sure that we'll have the quasi-sovereign markets, which will allow municipalities to issue papers at some point to raise funds for their municipality development initiative. So we have a full-fledged program that some of this I'll be looking at and packing, because here it's a very much high level. So I may leave quite a lot of information, but these are some of my executive orders that I'll be making from the word go to make sure that the government would have got Zambia Gold Refinery to be established immediately. These are some of the executive orders that I'll be making, and we make sure that the Zambia Gold Refinery, we will buy gold, and we are going to finance all the small miners to mine gold ethically, to mine other metals like lithium. We have also another program, and some of the executive orders is that to generate electricity, we have modular, some modular initiatives where we are going to use thorium. It's less sensitive than uranium, the nuclear energy. So we use thorium, which is not easy to enrich, to be used for other weapons and all that. So we have a company which has got a full-blown technology that we can generate up to 5,000 megawatts for domestic use and for the export within the region. So we will be able to have, so these are some of my executive orders that I'll be making from the word go. As soon as I'm given a mandate as a president, I'll be making these executive orders. Why? Because I have prepared Mwebena Zambia. Ninkwata ama solutions. Takwa kabema politics yansere. Na mpape ne, bonse misepela ba yofi. Takuri ati mwabu koru chero mwamu kutuka abantu. Wikeni kwa mano kuti ati mwamu kumona. Ni finshi problem po ilapa. Ni solution. Let us fight innovative thinking. When we do that, we will be able to provide. The Zambian people, I was speaking to one of my fellow, copper from Copper Belt. This young man has got so much knowledge and the ideas. I was very, very impressed. So we have, Zambia is not lacking people with skills. It is a land, it's a Garden of Eden, which is blessed. We are going to look at our Christian values, some of the things that is to the house of prayer is completed. Immediately I take over office because Zambia, it is a country that thrives on the blessings of the Almighty God himself. So some of the executive orders are some of the things that the government must be able to generate resources, mobilize finances from its domestic resources, for not to go with a begging bowl to external markets. We are going to make sure when we start generating surpluses domestically, it will automatically attract the foreign direct investment. You don't have to go with a begging bowl because we would have created demand for the market, we would have now created the mechanism, and we ensure that every kwacha that is spent, it's spent for productive programs. To where it goes, the reason why our country is ripped off, high levels of corruption. I was giving you an example of Canona Energy. What level of corruption is that? Where the president even goes, you want to ask the people that they should bless him for doing the nonsense of Canona Energy, increasing the cost of energy to the ordinary consumer, and yet there are so many problems. That is levels. Corruption can be categorized across various mechanics. So I will be calling upon every opposition leader, and also I want to thank. I don't want to forget to thank one of the callers. I think it's Mr. Piri, who spoke very well to compliment my coming in. I am coming in as a person who has the program, as not Mudolo. So my friends, the PF in particular, let us not divide ourselves. The opposition, everyone who has a political party, let us work together. As though is coming to get power for nothing. We are here for a common cause, which is purely for the development of our country, to resolve the issues. We can't afford to have UPND government next year in power. That will kill people. That will destroy our economy. Now it is a time for us to salvage and rescue our economy. So let us get together. I'll be speaking to everyone. I've met my brother, Emmanuel Mwamba Verified. We have had a chat before. And so we're speaking to, and I'll reach out to everyone. We have to unite. We have to unite us. The country here is divided. No tribal issues. I'm very concerned with what is happening with the tribal issues. These are things that we have to deal with. Whenever a Zambian travels somewhere, we go somewhere, when you are asked, what nationality are you? You say, I am a Zambian. So the main tribe is the Zambian is Zambian. You are a Zambian. Yes, we come from different dialects, Namwanga, Mambwe, Tonga, Lozi, Luvale, and so, but we are one people, and that's the reason why our elders, President Kaunda and others, they said, we are one Zambia, one nation. In the biblical side of the foundation of things, if you look at what happened when President Kaunda, after securing them, they actually now formed United UCZ, which is United Church of Zambia. The United Church of Zambia was a collaboration. It was putting together all the churches from different backgrounds, the Methodists, the Presbyterians, London, and all those. Several churches came together. United Church of Zambia was formed. This was a premise at which was established. So we have to understand that we Zambians, we are by default, biblically, unite people, and we cannot come and break and bring a case that is now dividing us. And this has happened purely because the UPN government, the president has failed to unite. You can see what is happening to the funeral issues. A leader who is committed, he would have humbled himself to come and sit with our mother, Mama Lungu, to deal with the issues. You can't be dragging, a widow in courts. What type of leadership is this? We have to think. It is not about Mudolo, you fight Mudolo. We can't do that in fighting ourselves. We have to find, if we divide, we are not going to remove a church. And I don't want people to simulate because I can mobilize financial resources. Look at the programs that I'm bringing to the table. These are programs that are addressing the issues from the day one. When we form the government, you'll be able to see things that's moving. If you say, this is not a promise, it's the actual framework that has been worked on over a good 16 years, committed to it as a calling. So, my fellow Zambians, this is a time that you come to a realization that this is not a time to fight, this is not a time to insult each other, this is a time that we unite, we speak as one force. We have a program. Mudolo is coming with the programs that have been incepted to deliver immediate transformation. No one can rise from the bed. I've listened to some of the proposals from my brothers where they say they will even be taxing the levies on cell phones. No, that cannot be a mechanism where we make the use of phones become more expensive. We can't do that. That is something that Zambians do not deserve. We have a mechanism. We have the resources of how we can look, and we will design the financial reforms. There are many things. We're going to create a line of product lines where we can export.
Thank you, Mr. Mudolo. Now,
export earnings.
Yeah, I know we had started on a never start. And I agree, this is the first time you're making and reaching out to the people of Zambia. For the first time they were hearing you speak. And you had somehow started with a lot of nervousness. We all have that. But you settled into the ideas and into the thoughts. And I think you've had, for this first part, had a great opportunity to give Zambians a window about your vision and, to give your colleagues and friends in the Patriotic Front an opportunity to reflect with the other leaders that they are reflecting. So I would like to thank you, and I'm looking forward to our second broadcast with you. Many of the presidential candidates have done a second, a third broadcast. This is an opportunity for you to refine your thoughts, to refine the policy proposals that you are giving to Zambians. And to our dear callers, I can tell you, I have total 720 missed calls. I just don't know what happened. I have 420 missed calls on one phone and about 300 on the other. The system just jammed. I'm so sorry. Even when I answered, nothing was working. It is, I think, my technical team to resolve this issue. We should put a better gadget than just me picking a phone and answering. It's just not working like today where the system just jammed. So, Mr. Mudolo, I would like to thank you, and I would like to invite you to my next broadcast. Let's, I think, off the camera, discuss with your team when you are next available, probably next week. Let's have that broadcast so that you can answer to the Zambians all these concerns that they have. And to our callers, it's demonstrable that they wanted to hear from you. Who's this Mudolo? Who's this Mudolo? And they had many burning questions. To you callers, You will have an opportunity next week. We'll allocate a lot of time when Mr. Mudolo introduces himself, his policies, and then we can open the floodlines. In the week, Mr. Mudolo, thank you very much. I'll release Mr. Mudolo as I conclude the program. Let me just go for this short break.
This Chipokota here one day came to me weeping in State House because she gets whipped because she's a Mwanawasa on things she doesn't even know. And I said, Chipo, sit here. This is part of your inheritance. You have to accept that. Indeed. And I said, go back to your office and continue working. Surely, to say that Chipo, my daughter, can carry the president's child, myself, is not a matter that we should really be discussing in the public. But it comes with the territory. And I said, go back to the office and continue working. It was very difficult for her. So this is what this public office are. And my wife is a mother to her. I said, what is this? I said, relax. Just relax. Relax. That's your daughter then.
Thank you very much. In the week, I have dedicated it to bringing PF leaders, Honorable Raphael Nakachinda and the acting president. They've been turmoil in the PF. There have been issues in the PF, issues of lists, issues of threats. What is happening in the Tonse Alliance? Is the Tonse Alliance breaking up? Should people give up this alliance? So I've lined up and spoken to my colleagues in the PF that I need Honorable Raphael Nakachinda to come and explain the issue of the list, the issue of all this turmoil in Tonse Alliance. I've also invited the acting president. He has a dispute with one of our young men, Dr. Zumani Zimba, and the other issues. And we've seen him tour the country as he embarked on campaigns. So look forward to the leaders in the PF. Brian Mundubile, we saw him with an issue with Sean Tembo and they were agitating some issues. You'll have an opportunity to have the three leaders in the week to speak to the issues that had risen in the week. Today we are hosting Willah Joseph Mudolo, a businessman resident in South Africa, who says he wishes to aspire as president in the PF and eventually in the country. And he says he's been working on a plan for the country since 2007. So until next week, God bless you, God bless our country, and we will have a leader that will replace President Hakainde Hichilema. Na chimona wa president wale batawe tapare kondea wale batama councillors wandi nama mpita bakabwele bati nenkabwela au bakateka chilema kwati bonse muchigumuna mulea bonse. So God bless you and we'll speak to you later.
You steal money from the government coffers, you're on your own. There is no tribalism in the fight against corruption. Osanamiwa.
Today we stand at a crossroads, not just of politics, but of conscience. The passing of our humble president, Mr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu, is not only a moment of mourning, it is a moment of reckoning. Let this be a message to every future politician of Zambia. Power is not a crown. It is a responsibility. You are not above the people, you are born of them. You are raised by their trust, and you are judged by how you honor it. What we witnessed during President Lungu's health challenges must never happen again. No family should be dragged through courtrooms while grieving. No widow should plead for dignity. No orphan should wait for justice to bury their father. This is not the Zambia we were meant to be. Let us start over. Let us rebuild, not just our institutions, but our hearts. Let the death of President Lungu remind us that we are each other's keeper. That love is not weakness, it is our greatest strength. That the Bible commands us to care for the widow, the orphan, and the stranger. And that true leadership begins with compassion. We only have one Zambia. Let us raise her high, not with slogans, but with service. Let us show love, not just in words, but in action. Let us unite, not just in grief, but in purpose. To the Lungu family, we are with you. To every citizen, your pain matters. To every leader, your legacy begins now. One Zambia, one nation, one heart.
Lero bwacha bakamba mu kyalo ky'esu kya Zambia ekyaweka njoy. Abantu baafo bakamba kule mu nfumbwe. More than 20 people balebe pati ni babiri. Bagamba. Fish to arufyanye. People have died. Mumino yabakapokola. The police killing people. Why? In the same government bagamba. Abductions have happened. Bagamba. If you're not with them, it's either you're dead or you're in prison. This government, you're going to change, big man. Fish to arufyanya pakubika office. Fish to arufyanya. Why me? Missing. Achani ruba mwaicho and dishonor. Where is why me? Change, tell us with your government, where is why me? Give us why me. Justice for why me, big man. Wachila mo Wala tupwisha bega kutupwisha bagamba. Katwale kya kulanda big man. Why you think? Maena batata. Zambia tuwasevana. Bagamba. Waneza tuwapweni. Mujala tetu. Icha Zambia. Tuamona mwempwa. Bagamba. Tuamona mwempwa. Nama abductions bagamba. Ubuteko tualeta. Wadulete lama. Amazala mush. No you can take her. Wala ipompa today. No you can take her. Apa number bade. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Makuvota bade. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Makufuatika. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Makufuatika fuatika. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. When you die kwa fwe. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Aikona man. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Ika yako. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Yakuliati kwenyu. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mayona batata. Mayona batata. Bayuthi. Tyentuisuli amenso. Tyentuisuli amenso. Batusendela nomba batwipaila na hope Yesu. Endika chagwa lungu watubela tinani mkwatila plan B. Nomba tuwadishiba plan B aba mmino ya kualesa. Bantu banga abalafa mu kyalo ky'esu kya Zambia. Nibanga abantu abala abducted mu kyalo ky'esu kya Zambia. Bambire kuli jeje banda. Nibanga abantu abala mu prison. Abena chitotela chilangwa. Bonze baba prison n'entunguru shina shimbi. Muri one government ya kwa ejeje. Abantu naba famweleza. Aikata nomba baikata na kuyetika chakwa lungu atukwatile plan B. Apa kubo vya mufulo big man. Mufulo pa mufulo. Binabine matzendela yetika chakwa lungu. Apa nomba bade. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Wakuvota bade. Mufulo pa mufulo. bakufuatika mufulo pa mufulo mufulo pa mufulo bakufuatika fuatika mufulo pa mufulo mufulo pa mufulo kwenyu tayakwa fwe mufulo pa mufulo mufulo pa mufulo aikona man mufulo pa mufulo mufulo pa mufulo itayakwa fwe mufulo pa mufulo mufulo pa mufulo yakuliati kwenyu mufulo pa mufulo mufulo pa mufulo.
HH does not mean well for Mother Zambia. Zambia to Asebana, this is not the Mother Zambia that we were left with by our ancestors, our forefathers who fought so hard to liberate us. Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, Nalumino Mundia, Mama Julia Chikamoneka, Simon Mwansaka Pwepwe, they fought so hard to put this country on the map, to put this country